Hello everybody and welcome back to the third part of our film club here on Adobe Live in the UK. Yes, good to see you all. Now if you're watching on YouTube you can do that, it's just fine, but what you should do of course is come and join us on behance.net/Adobe Live, because that way you can get involved in the chat and talk to some of these amazing people such as Angus and Caroline. We've got Carson and Doris, we've got Gelana, we've got Jan, we've got Yulia, hi Yulia, we've got Kirsty in the chat, Linda, Mike, Neil, Oliver, making funny remarks about my tan, which is real. Sandrine and Sarah and Sean, Guten Tag Sean and Stefan and Stuart, Tony Harmer, whoever he is, and Z. There you go, all of these great people you can talk to. And of course I'm joined by the other half of Film Club, Tim Say. Hi.
Hi. Glad I can also say something before the stream ends.
Burn. Right.
Right, great to be back for day 3 of the Film Club, because today is, of course, a 2-hour stream.
Yeah.
Not sure if I can manage, because I only have 2 glasses of water next to me.
I know, I've got no coffee, I've actually got juice.
Well, I think that looks very unhealthy on stream. It
doesn't.
Grey.
That's what you get for pumping up the orange on my side of the room.
And look here, Emma is here for water delivery. Hi, Emma.
Hi, Emma.
Screw you.
Right, so Tony, tell me, what are we doing today?
I thought you knew what we were doing. No, I'm kidding. So we are continuing on with our titles.
Yeah.
Our Adobe Live titles. Or things around, you know, all the different techniques around that. We're basing them on Casino Royale, 2006 Bond movie.
I don't think we need the headphones right now.
That's the inspiration, so we can take those off.
Yeah,
that's a good idea, actually. It's quite warm and it's weird getting an echo of your head, and plus loud. Yeah, we're carrying on doing that. So yesterday and the day before, we were working I was working mainly in Illustrator. You were doing some cool stuff.
In After Effects.
In After Effects, absolutely, which is now across on my machine, so we've got that. That's just why my fans are so noisy right now.
No, you have to deal with it.
I have to deal with it.
Well, at least you have fans, even though they're not here.
Oh.
And the chat.
Oh,
See?
Very good. Very good. It's very good, that is. Yes. And let's have a look at what some of these lovely people are saying. They're saying nice things, which is very, very good. They're all there. Sandrine, we were watching your work yesterday, Sandrine. Excellent.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We were really enjoying it. You were on Sean's show. So, yes, there you go. Emma's just over there. She's just hanging around somewhere, hiding. She's, you know, over there in somewhere land. But moving on. Right, so who do you want to do stuff first, or shall I do stuff first? How do you want to do it?
Well, I think we can hop on over to your machine, because
yes,
you have the updated version
of
my project from yesterday, because I went in and duplicated all the layers and added more and more, so hopefully it looks more like the original one, or at least similar.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I like it. Yeah, we ought to share that with everybody. Let's do that then. Let's get across into that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just borrow this composition here for the moment, so we can have a look at your comp here. I've got it pre-rendered just here because it is a bit busy.
Yeah, definitely.
And also I've just inadvertently brought in the soundtrack, so let's just get rid of that. Just for a second.
That's for later.
That's for later. Okay, so I've got this gradated background just here, and I'm just going to play out the results of Tim's work on top of that, and hopefully you'll see how everything comes out like so. Now, some of Tim's stuff is in red here, so what I'll do is just turn off temporarily the colour overlay so you can see this more clearly. Here we go. And there we are, all fanning out. They look really good, Tim.
And some yellow in the background, very
yeah, oh yeah. But that adds texture. It's really good. Let's have a look at that again, actually. It's so good.
Ooh.
Yeah. There you go. I love that. It's almost like tunnel parallax. It's because you're seeing it, just that little burst from the side. Love it. So there you go. That's what Tim was doing. Tim was up working late on that. He was definitely putting in the clock.
Well, late, not as late in the day, but mostly late just before, right before the stream.
Right before the stream.
Well, thanks for that, Emma.
Isn't it great when you have a floor manager on and you can see them?
The signs.
Sorry, get on with it. Anyway, right, so let me just wind this back a little bit for people who are just joining. We have animatics in part for, in fact, this part here we can actually start to build from. So we've got our dots that pop on like so, and then the iris that we're using, and then we've got an animatic in place here, and we've got the little film club thing that the brand police aren't very keen on, but oh well. And then we start to build, this is the animatic version of that, so we can actually start to take this now and make something from it. So what I think I will do is I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the temporary parts I've got here. So I'll get rid of my mnemonic spiral. I'll get rid of this temporary background here. What have I got over on this side? This more background stuff. So we can get rid of those. And then we can start to build this. First of all, I'm going to change the composition length here to 1 minute and 7 seconds. So that's 1:07:00. Oh, it's a bit Bond-like, isn't it?
What is a Bond?
007.
Never heard of that.
Oh yeah, no, we're not. So, you know, as in premium bonds. And email from various different motion picture studios later on today. So there we go, fantastic. Now we are referencing something like that. So anyway, there we go. Right, let's just have a look at the dots first, because these were very, very simple, done with shapes. So if I go double clicking into that so we can see the composition itself, there's a few different things going on in here. And you can see, you could have done this actually much simpler with one of your expressions.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, this would have been a lot easier to do. But essentially, we have a very, very simple shape layer, which is moving on, and it's getting to a particular point, and then its opacity is changing like so, and then it's just being repeated across the layers like that. So we have this nice effect going across there. Then we have our iris opening just here, and it's around about this point where we need some footage. That footage has come across to me, I think, hasn't it? Or are you going to work on that?
I think we can work on that, because if we look at the original intro of the movie that shall but not be named,
yeah,
is we have some sort of rotoscope posturized effect of the main character in it, and I thought we could recreate that in After Effects, because unlike the one yesterday, that's fairly easy. Right. It should only take a couple of minutes.
There we go.
And also, just because you said talked about expressions with the dots at the beginning, I don't think expressions would have made that easier, because it doesn't need to be dynamic. It's one animation.
Straight thing.
You're not repurposing it in any way, so it's fine.
True. And it's just 3. Maybe if it was 24, it'd be a whole different thing altogether. Absolutely. So yes. And then from in there, we've got this reveal just here, temporary placeholder. But the good news is that's an Illustrator file, so I could improve that in just a few seconds, because if I pop out to Illustrator just here and open up that file, I should have it fairly near the top. The placeholder itself is actually masking out the actual thing. There we go, see? Just by making that simple change in the Illustrator file back across to After Effects, suddenly we update that.
So cool.
With something that's really going to put the bees around the honeypot later on, I'm sure. Anyway,
let me just get my thesaurus.
You'd actually need Brewster's for that one, but anyway, moving on. Right, so we're up to that particular point. So do you want to handle this piece now? Or, so let's hop over to you then.
So it's finished. Then I can send it over to you. And you
That's it. And then I can carry on from
But before we start, we had some questions already. First of all, welcome to everyone who just joined us. Richard,
Hey.
hi. Stream just started. Yes, but you have missed day 1 and day 2 if this is your first day joining us. And also, there was a question, where are we right now? Jan, we're in Munich, at the Adobe office. And poor Tony, he said like, hey Tim, I'm coming over in a few weeks to Germany for my holidays. I'm just going to visit some castles and some schlosses. And then I said, well, why are you here?
Yes.
Why don't you just... And we took him, poor Tony, no sightseeing. Well, that's not true, but...
Well, limited so I had to get a fab dinner.
And poor Tony has to work now on his holiday. Oh, well. All right. Okay. Cool.
So...
Then should we jump over to my screen?
Yes, jump over to your screen. Let's do that.
Watch this.
Boom. There you go.
So good.
It is.
Right. Okay, cool. I have some footage which we have recorded just earlier. Just going to move that over here because I don't need that. And there we are. I think, is that just missing on my screen? Okay, it's just the monitor. I was wondering.
Am I using the €9 ticket? I am so.
After I mentioned it to him yesterday. Wait, you're paying for every ride?
Yeah,
really?
no.
All right.
Well, hey ho.
Okay. So I'm going to drop that in here. We see we have a Tony. And at some point he steps over to the side.
Yes.
Here. There we are. So we can crop that in.
Yep. I'm actually 3 feet away at that point.
And what happens is, just like the animatic, we can just play that back real quick. I'm going to turn off the audio just in case it's coming through. All right. Going to stop that here. Cool. And reduce the work area. There we go. So, he walks on, turns around. Ooh! And that's it. Okay.
There we are. Yeah.
Now, is that an Umbrella Academy shirt?
It is, yes.
There you go.
Yeah. How many products can we actually mention today? It's going to be a very lot of emails. Yeah, fortunately Emma gets them, so that's fine.
There you go, we're fine. This stream sponsored by... Okay. Yeah. So, first of all, we need to get rid of the green in the background, and luckily there are keying tools for that. We're going to use Keylight. This is basically the one everybody uses. It's great and I like it. And the way it works is just I get the screen color using the eyedropper, click here, and we're almost... You should have worn those while you were...
I should have done actually, yeah. I'm not as sharp as you.
All right. Okay. Now we just need to clean up the green a bit and the white. There we are.
There we are.
And if you are not sure how to do that, you can also check out the, I think it is the combined mat. There we are. Ideally, you're looking for everything that's supposed to be transparent should be black, and everything that's supposed to be opaque should be white. So just like layer mask in Photoshop, this looks good. Before we had that, that's not good. Otherwise, his face would get slightly transparent. We don't want that, so I'm going to clip the white and the black until we have a fairly clean key. And there's still going to be some noise here, that's fine, because at some point we're going to crop into the face anyway, and this part here down here, it doesn't really matter. So we're fine. Okay, going to switch back to the final result. There we are.
Sarah saying she can't concentrate with the googly eyes. Is that mine or the ones I was just wearing or yours?
All right, okay.
Yes.
I'm just gonna quickly pre-compose that, and we'll call it Tony Green or Keyed. How about that? Keyed. Yes, there we are. Okay. Composition. Now we have it in the sub-composition.
It looks very Hitchcock. Cool.
Dum, da, 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 dum, da, da. I'm not sure, I'm
and
sure we can't see that.
There's another product.
What you can't see is Emma's going like... Okay. Cool. So, listen. I think we're going to need the full 2 hours just for this. Right.
Let's not mention
Posturize.
Getflix.
Right. Okay, so we're going to posturize it like this. And yeah, that's close. But we have some issues because, first of all, we get a lot of detail where we don't really want any detail. Ideally, we want something that's more abstract.
Yeah.
It just resembles your face, not because I don't like it, but because it's more fitting the style.
I've got used to it over time.
Okay, and the way I'm going to do that is simply by blurring the frame before we posturize it. So I think we will use Gaussian blur, fast blur, doesn't really matter. Let's use Gaussian blur because why not? And watch what happens if we zoom in. I can show that to you. Especially the beard, that's where you have a lot of detail, which we don't want. I'm just going to blur that out, and suddenly you will see all the details going to disappear.
Getting those shapes.
But you run into an issue, which is have a look at the edge. If I just get rid of that, see that?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we don't want.
No, we don't want that.
No, definitely, because we still want a sharp outline, but we just want to blur the inside. So how could we possibly do that? Well, there are two ways to fix that. First of all, we could use, instead of the Gaussian blur, we could use a channel blur, which has a setting called alpha blurriness. And alpha is like the transparency.
Yeah.
And if we just don't blur the transparency, well, then we get a sharp edge.
Okay.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
However, I like
I
another
don't think
way.
I've ever used that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And you can create like these sort of 80s degraded video looks by just blurring individual channels, and it looks really cool.
Yeah.
But you see a lot of that on the 80s game show at some point.
Yes. Very
However, instead of doing that, I will use the set channels effect.
simple. Okay.
Just going to put that over here. And in here we have an option that's called set alpha to source 4. And if we just take the original file,
Okay.
so we take the alpha information from the original file before we blurred it, otherwise we would have to use effects and mask, which we can't, so source. We take that alpha and apply it again. We notice we have our sharp edge right here.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
And now we can posterize it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a look.
It's a look. Yes, it is.
I think I'm going to use a different blur. I'm going to use the fast box blur because I like the look of that a bit more. There we are. Okay. And of course we're going to color that in. We will not stick with that, but I think right about here maybe.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. And we can also play with the levels of posterization however many we want. If we want maybe just here, or we want a lot, that's probably too much. So let's get that down to about...
I think it is about right. That I think is pretty good.
I think we can go a bit further.
Do you? Okay.
Maybe even one more. I reckon about here. Maybe? Or
Yes.
should be a bit more detailed. What do you think?
No, I think that's fine. I mean, it's the expression in a moment that we're going to need. So,
Okay. So quickly, I'm just going to apply the Tritone to clamp the color values, and by changing the midtones to a more bright version, I think
yeah, that's definitely getting there now.
there we are.
Yes.
Now if we just play that back, it's going to take a moment to render, so we'll just let that render for a second and look at the chat, what they are saying. Oh yes, desaturate, Sean. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't actually need to desaturate, but there we are, so cool. And the tan is getting better now. Thanks, Sandrine. Tony's actually not that tanned, I'm just very pale. The contrast is what is the issue.
I have got colour though at the moment. That's kind of, you know, like I said, I've been working outdoors, so it's kind of nice.
All right, so let's play that back. And there we are. Right, I'm just going to do one last thing, and I will take Lumetri, bring that in. And
Tomato. Lumetri.
Who says tomato?
I do.
Okay, fair enough. Just going to increase the contrast. Just a bit.
Oh, there we go.
So before and after, just a bit more. And there we go. I think I can export that, send it over to you, and you can insert it. And by the way, don't be confused by the white background. This is just the comp color. I can toggle the transparency right here, and now you see it's actually transparent.
So now we've got exactly what we need for that.
All right, I'm going to render that out, send it over in the shared folder, and hand it back to you.
Great stuff. Then we can drop that in.
Oh, look, it's a match cut. See that? Ooh,
Ooh.
So good.
So good.
Right.
You deserve a raise.
Emma.
You should give Tim more money. Anyway, actually, right, moving on.
I'm looking forward to our next one-on-one. Look at that.
And here's your review. So good. Right, get that rendered. Get that rendered. Okay, let me, just while you're doing that, let me go into some of this stuff here, so we can come back and drop that in when it's...
Let's get some work done.
When it's synced. I'm just going to have a quick drink without showing any labels at all. Just to be on the safe side, you know, because I didn't have the time to go and pick up a neutral glass. But anyway, moving on. So, what I've done here is I've created a background in Illustrator using a gradient and one of the Photoshop effects to do that. So if I just do you a quick show of what I did just there, and I can close some of these files in a moment. It's no wonder that my machine is whirring away like it is.
I think mine is too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it did. And plus it's super warm in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, here it is. This is the rectangle. It's a simple rectangle. So just a rectangle. I'm going to zoom in like so you can see what's going on here. So I could turn some of these off actually so you can see them at the same time. So I'll just go ahead and hide the visibility for these layers like so. Okay, so essentially it's one solid fill here which has a Photoshop effect applied to it. So there it is, film grain applied just there, gives me that. And then over the top I've got a very straightforward radial gradient. In fact, if I turn this one off, you can just about see it. It's super, super soft. In fact, if I turn on the copy above it, which is meant to just improve the density of it, you'll start to see that appear more and more as it goes up like so. Don't worry about the banding, that's just an effect of the playback at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So there we are. So I've got that nice gradient. I put it in grey because I want to be able to change the colour inside of After Effects easily, and neutral grey is a good base way to do that. So I can close this one up without saving it, so it's not going to overcook anything, and I can also close that file. And so here it is here, and all I've done is I've added a colour overlay layer style. Same way as you would in something like Photoshop, for example. Even in the same place, layer menu, and then you've got layer styles in here. You have, if you've got something selected that can appreciate them. Layer, so you've got layer styles just there, and you've got a bunch of different layer styles you can use. So I've gone for a colour overlay, and the reason I want to do it this way is because I want the colour to change over time. Now, while we are indeed kind of using Casino Royale as a basis for some of the work we're doing, it is after all about Adobe Live. So we're deviating from the whole spy thing at that point. So this will change across, and essentially it will be all of the colours of the rainbow. Okay, so it will go from orange. I have muted some of the tones so that they do kind of keep with the playing cards that will be around. It goes into green, like so, and then across into aqua and blue and purple and magenta, and then back out to that. So there you go. That's how it will work.
Fantastic.
However, originally this was going to be a 2-minute sequence. It's now not. It's 1 minute 7 seconds. So I've got to do some work here to change that. But as Tim will have shown you before, it's relatively simple for me to make that change. I'm going to select all of the keyframes there that change that colour, hold down my Alt or Option key, and then I'm just going to pull this back like so, and they will just change like that. There you go, much, much shorter.
And if you were to, I'm not sure if you can roll color keyframes across time.
I think you can.
Maybe. Because then you wouldn't have to hold down Option, you can just pick the first and the last one and the keyframes in the center.
Oh, but I've actually specified a different overlay color for each one, so they are actually keyed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done it.
Okay.
I haven't done it in another way. These ones are keyed.
All right. Okay.
There we are. So let's take our playhead here up to. Oh, actually, I might have done that already by the looks of it. In fact, if I go along here, so I'm just moving the playhead until I'm in the ballpark for that. So there we are. That is close enough. I'm going to bring my work area down to about that point. And about there, and Shift Command X, Shift Control X on Windows, that clips that to the, or trims it to the work area there, like so. And then I can make just any final adjustments I need there between those, so they're not moving too quickly. There we are.
Tim silently questioning Tony's workflow. No, Tim silently hoping the MacBook will finally calm down again.
It's very noisy here. It's with the fans are really they're really kicking in. It's a little bit off-putting, but
they're cheering.
We can deal with it.
The fans are cheering again.
Fans are cheering again. There we go.
Well, fan mostly.
Oh, fan. Yes. Yulia, she's there. Oh, the other fan. Anyway. Right. Project. Right. So this is the BG. Color shift composition. So I'm actually going to bring that now into the main composition just here. So let's go ahead and grab that from my project folder, which, as you can see, has got a lot of stuff going on inside of it just now. So we're going to bring that in and drop that down just above.
That's a lot of BGs.
It is a lot of BGs. But that's how I abbreviate every background so that I know it is meant to be a background.
So when you're working late at night, you don't get the night fever and...
With all the BGs?
Yeah.
No. It's still... this comp is not long enough, you know. It's actually not. So I'm going to change that. I thought I'd done it for that. So I'll make it a bit longer. I'll make it 110. There we go.
Sandrine, I'm not going to read that.
What's she saying? The ultimate goal is having fun. Oh, right, okay, no, we're not reading that out.
Throwing flowers, yeah.
Flowers, yes, that's what we want. I think I might have to do a bit of a time remap on that to get that around. So we could do that, actually. Time remapping. Just remind me, Tim. Enable time remapping.
You're welcome.
There you go. No problem at all. And then go ahead and remap that time. Okay. Doing it over the wrong keyframe. Anyway, I can sort that momentarily. I'll just get that there, and then I can redo that in just a short while. So this also needs to fade across from this point here when the Film Club poster has been revealed. So we'll go ahead, and that will be the first thing we'll do there is change the transparency or opacity. So T on the keyboard, drop that down to 0, and then move across a little bit, and then just bring that up to 100%. Oh, I've just noticed that's actually, if I go back to the previous keyframe, see, it's got a 1. So it's faintly there. There you go. So that works okay. Now we can bring in the spiral at this point as well. I think my naming thing is upside down. There we are. That's what's throwing me. So we'll bring in the pre-render for that because we did that because... Yeah, of course.
You could actually apply a hue saturation effect to that MOV file if you don't want the red. Perhaps you can change another color, like yellow.
Yeah, we could do that.
Because the red is unfortunately not showing
well, what I was going to do was actually jump into the other comp and just make a change. I could leave that one grey and take that out to red.
Yeah.
as it goes. So we can do that. Let's just jump across to that composition. So we'll make a change just here. We'll add in another keyframe and we'll change the comp there. If we just go to a darker grey, like so, there we go. That's got some atmosphere to it. And we'll bring that one to the front. So that will fade in at that point. And then that's kind of nice. That should work across there. So as they come in, oh, you can really see that yellow now.
By the way, the video should be over in your folder now.
Is it? Fantastic. Thank you very much. We can do that. Let's do that in just a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, this comp is not long enough. And what have I done there? Let's have a quick look. Oh, it's nowhere near. It's not even in minutes. I'm going to take it out to 2 minutes. So 20, 0, 0, 0, 0. Like so. There we go. That's better. Now we've got plenty of room. I must have just missed something. I can shorten it when we're ready.
Who knows?
Who knows? Do you think that needs a hue saturation adjustment on it?
Well, I was just thinking if you want to use a different color than the red logos and you don't want to get into the composition and change it, because then you would have to re-render everything.
Okay.
So a hue saturation could be an easy way to fix it, or you can use a tritone perhaps if you don't want hue saturation.
Effect.
Yeah, effect.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go to effects and search for tritone.
Hi, General Kenobi. Hello there.
Ooh.
Paolo. Hi.
So
welcome in.
You give me your recommendations for colour.
I think we should ask Maddie if she's here. Pick a colour, any colour.
I'm just actually roving through these just to see what. Do you know? I actually think that just
We
changing
could
that.
do also a darker one, yeah. So they're dark.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm happy with that.
You're happy with that?
I mean, however you want to change it, of course you would. Is it affecting the background too, or is that red just really, really dark?
The red is really, really dark at that point because it's just becoming red. At that point.
Right, okay.
That's what the thing is there. Yeah, we don't want to go too far because otherwise we'll lose the things in the front there. Yeah, at this particular point in the timeline, Tim, it's gone from being grey to being red, but that's fine because that starts to set us up for the first of our patterns. And if we were following strictly the movie itself, at this particular point, what would happen is the actual movie's card, so the title card would pop up at this point, which is simply in that movie Casino Royale.
Yeah.
With 4 patterns, but ours is then going to move out at this particular point here to having a background inside of it, and this is where we need some of the other BGs. Any particular BG you fancied? You had a look at the BG files yesterday. Any particular one that you like?
Just check. I had pattern 7. Sorry, I had that.
You had pattern 7.
Playing around with that, but that's very thin.
I'm actually just going to get rid of a couple of the temporary ones here because that's not what we want. Ooh.
We could just look at my machine for a second.
Yeah, switch over to yours.
I have them ready. This is pattern. We can let the chat vote, perhaps, if they want.
We could, yeah.
So this is 7. If you like that one, put a 7 in the chat. This is 6. If you like this one, put a 6 in the chat. And this is 5. If you like this one, put a 5 in the chat. What else do we have? 4? No, that's something else. 3. Well, I don't think that's really.
No, that's not complete. And there's another one that's not complete.
No.
Yeah.
And that was one from yesterday.
It was one from yesterday.
So I think the choice is between 7, 6, and 5. So once again, that's 7.
Yeah.
That's 6. And here's 5. Let us know in the chat on Behance, of course, by typing
7,
in 5, 6, or 7.
5, yeah.
Once again, 7.
Jarlam's gone 6. Linda's on 7. 7's looking popular to me. Well, mind you, 6 is suddenly popular as well. 6 is very popular.
And 5.
I'm going to start loading 6.
Looks like 6 is winning.
Yeah.
So this one.
That one. Okay, what I am going to do quickly, just to make my life easier, and rather than applying another style, is I'm going to bring that in, and then I'm going to edit it. just in Illustrator just for a second.
Richard says, Sechs bitte.
Sechs bitte. Very good. BG pattern 6. There you go. See, they're even there in order.
It's crazy.
It's just madness. Right, okay, so what I want to do here is I want to change the colour of that to white. This is a multi-layer pattern, which is why I've jumped across just to have a quick look at that. Well, it should be a multi-layer pattern. That's interesting. It's because some of those are strokes. So let's undo that. Back to where we were. So here's one of the things you might need to do to something like this if you've generated it in one of the ways I described yesterday. If you have actually got strokes and fills together, the best thing to do, so you can see here the strokes around the side, all around this edge here, is to outline those. So I'll use the menu command to do that. I created a shortcut for my own, but we'll do that. So those strokes are now outlined. It's also a good idea to run a command such as merge on there. Okay, and that will join all of those things together. It has some advantages over union, and especially if you've got different colours in there. So if you have variations of colour, then merge is a good choice because it will just create common areas based on colour and join those things together. So I should now be in a position, I'm just going to choose another colour first. There's a problem there. And it's better to find these problems before...
Sean made a straw poll, but I think, Sean, it's too late now. I'm very sorry.
What's he saying?
He made a straw poll so they can vote.
Oh,
but I guess it's too late now. Sorry.
Oh.
We already picked the one because we don't have too much time.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Do you know what? I will put a layer style on that, but now I've got it because I've just realised I've got a job of work here where I've actually got white shapes in there. It's not truly transparent in places if I move that around. So I'm going to leave that where it was. Okay, so we'll go back to here, and because After Effects treats it as an image, so we will apply a layer style to that. So we'll do a color overlay, and then into that effect. What's now?
Emma is now a moderator, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go. Moderate Emma. We could also change the blending mode of that as well if we wanted to. Change that to something like screen, possibly, with it now being light. That would work pretty well, but that's not what I'm after. Right, what I want to do then is not, of course, have this pattern in isolation. I'm just going to scale this down uniformly to start off with, like so. I'm kind of hoping that it won't affect just that area there. And then I'm going to search for the effects here. I'm going to go to K-A-L-I-E.
No,
E-I.
E-I-O.
D-O.
E-I-O.
E-I-O. You're on a mission today. Okay, all right. I can't scale that down because it's working just on the comp, not on the pattern, so we'll bring that back up. But Collider is a kaleidoscope type effect. You can see there's a bunch of different things we can do here. Right, so different ways that we can interpret that. Some of them will look remarkably similar. Also, for some reason, After Effects is taking a moment or two to render.
Sometimes just you just scrub back and forth.
Yeah, so just try that, see if it'll update now. There you go. But no, of course not. Also, what I can do while we're here is trim this. So I'm going to get to this particular point here, Shift Command D, which will trim at that point. I can delete the part of the layer I don't need there. And then we can start to change some things with this effect. So I'm going to keyframe maybe the effects here at the top, so you can see I can change the size of this, okay, and the amount of rotation in there. I can also drag this wheel to do that. Okay, so if I move this around, you can see how that changes. That'd be quite interesting actually. That looks kind of nice that it's doing that.
I'm not sure if I do like the squareness. Because I think one what's called flower or star or something.
Flower is
starish.
Yeah, star's good as well.
Try that one.
Starfish. There we go. That's kind of
starish.
Oh, starish is there?
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah, you have it right.
Oh, starish. Sorry. Yeah, I thought it said starfish. Obviously, I was reading that. This is my big thing. I read detail all the time. So we can move that, see, and it looks like the back of a playing card.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. So we'll change that over time.
And you can also change the original center point and move it sort of like.
We can do, yeah. So we can do that either numerically here, or we can click on this icon here.
Using stapler accident finger.
Yeah, stapler accident finger, and move that around. That looks kind of good actually, just there. So let's do that. And we'll do that over time as well. So the two things we're going to change over time are the rotation, okay, and also the center. So at this particular point here, we just tap U, so we can see everything that's set. We can see our keyframes. I'm going to move across. That's interesting. All right, okay, it's just taking a moment to update, I think, in there. Where's my color stuff gone? Ah. Hello.
Whoa. Very like no.
No. It's because I've changed the time, didn't I? On that comp just here. That does actually need to be stretched out now to the time, and we'll bring that in as necessary. It's time remap, so it will just work perfectly well for us, or should do. There we go. I need to just catch up just a moment. Or I can just take the time remapping off and bring that back in. Let's just take that out for a sec. Back to the project and find our BG color shift. There we go. Something's gone wacky.
We were both wrong. It's stylish.
There we go.
It was neither starfish or stylish.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I'm going to make a couple of changes here, Tim.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. Okay, we can fix those things momentarily. It's obviously going to be one of those days. Right, so it goes along here, we've got our colours changing like so. And now we can make some changes to the centres just here. And the rotation.
I mean, that area is scarier. It must be minimized.
Sorry?
Put a Jason Levine quote.
Oh, right, okay. There we go. Let's have a look at how that runs over time. I don't know why that's dropping to black over there. Oh, I do now.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just copy that out. And I think I've hidden the spiral as well inadvertently. So, okay. Anyway, let's just see how that works over time. It's taken its sweet time to render. So it's nice and slow, which is good news.
I think it's actually playing in real time. It's just that the movement is
so
really
gradual.
Slow.
Yeah.
Of course, we could go in and rotate the pattern. We can even, if you wanted to, transform it in 3D.
Yep.
So we can leave this as an exercise to the viewer at home.
Yep.
Because we don't want to increase render time too much in the stream.
And we need to build lots of other elements so we can stitch those things together.
We have about an hour left.
Is it an hour already?
Well, it's 48.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
Well, hour and 10 minutes, of course.
Well, next time you're on, I will go and fix this timeline and see what's broken on here. What the best thing is to do is to build some of the other elements, I think. That would be a good thing to do. So I've got... in my project folder just here, or in my project, I have got some picture cards. So I've created a nice little folder here, trying to be organised, not as organised as Joe, nowhere near, in fact.
Right.
And then I've got a whole bunch of different things to work with. I think I'll work with the Queen card first on this one. So let's bring that in. So this has been modified slightly. So I've taken a few elements out. There are 2 layers involved in this. There is a blocking layer at the bottom, which is just allowing the white to appear through just there. And also, if I turn the blocking layer off, you can see some of the gaps that I've got inside of here. Okay, so there's gaps in a few different places around the sleeve areas here on both, and in the belt area there. And I thought it would be interesting to go ahead and add some things into there. Specifically, and I know I have to jump backwards and forwards between here and Illustrator quite a lot, we've got our patterns from yesterday. If I get the first king layer back up, you can see I've got some layers here with the patterns in that we're making. The Adobe Live pattern just there. We've got these loops and these pens all inside of there. Okay, and we're going to borrow some of those from that file inside of our composition just here. So if I scroll down to that folder that I created for this content, you can see how everything there is separated. Let's bring in one of these elements, and I brought it in between, okay, the color layer at the top and the blocking layer underneath, and we're going to bring that in just like so. I think I'm going to zoom in there a bit so we can position that a little bit better than it is at the moment. I'm going to nudge that around with my arrow keys.
But hang on, I think that's a full circle. I don't think we want the full circle. We just want the part of the sleeve. So how are we gonna?
We're going to fix that in a sec.
Okay.
We're going to pop some rotation on there. We're going to do a bit of masking to go with it, so it will work out.
All right.
Trust me.
I do. Fully.
Actually, I think we'll do the rotation first. We'll get that on because with everything else in this, there's going to be no. The spiral that you've created is actually the fastest piece of action that we're going to have in there. Everything else is meant to be on purpose very, very slow and meaningful. So we've got that working in there. I'm going to tap R on my keyboard to get the rotation, which I want to keyframe. So my playhead or CTI is at the front of the time, just there. And then it's going to go for the whole duration of this. There's only a segment of it going to be shown, but I'd rather have more composition to work with in the first place than I would have to make stuff up afterwards. Very, very slow rotation here. So this is, as you can see in the timeline here, okay, if I zoom in like so, it's being affected over several seconds. I actually only want it to rotate by maybe 7-8 degrees, something like that, 10 maybe max. So I'm just going to type in 10 degrees just here. Let's have a look at that. I deliberately didn't do 3 because I knew you'd come up with some sort of excellent pun around it. So, and so if I play that out, you can see that's just moving nice and slowly. There, you can see it's moving, but it's nice and slow. The jump at the end doesn't matter because by that time it will already have moved on in the main composition. But you mentioned the bit where we can see more content here, quite right, than we should be able to see. So how are we going to get around that? Well, the answer is with a track map, but we're going to make that using a solid. So I've got my solid layer just here, or my solids folder. I've got a few solids in here already. I'm just going to bring one of those in, like so. Okay, so you can see that sitting over the top there. I'm going to tap G on my keyboard to get the pen tool. That really throws me, that does, because I'm so used to tapping P and everything else. But I have to make, in my mind, some sort of connection that says I'm in After Effects and the pen tool is great. So I tap, that's how I associate G with that particular thing. Then I can start working on, because it's selected here, I can start working on the mask. So I'm just going to put some anchor points or vertices, however you want to refer to them, in here. I could use handles if I wanted to do that and create nice, super smooth curves. So I've got a handle here I'm dragging around. Now that's tricky for you to see just there. Here's the handle. I'm holding on the Option key to break the association between those handles. And then I can come down to a further point, click and drag to create a curve there. I can come back and fix that vertex or put anchor point in just a second. And just bring that all in like so. I'm trying to zoom in gently, but my trackpad's allowing me to go super, super fast. So let's go around and do that. I mean, I could, for argument's sake, just go ahead and make straight points. I'm going to do that now, actually. So let me just undo the corner curve there and just drop around these things because it won't matter, we won't see them. It's the easiest route to getting these things done. There we go. There's our mask, but of course the mask
it's rotating along with it if you don't do it via a track mask.
Yeah, exactly.
Track match.
That's the thing. But what we need to do now is we need to get the layer underneath to actually use the alpha of this solid. And of course we don't want to see the solid, so we'll use a track matte, which will be a double win because it will hide what we need to hide, okay, and it will also show what we need to show, because the solid layer will be hidden as a track matte. Okay, so what I can do is, if I zoom in so it's nice and easy for you to see, I can choose my track matte. So remember, this is on the ring layer here that I need to work with, so I can go ahead and choose that. I'll choose an alpha matte for the red solid, like so. So that's now being masked. You can see we can't see. We can see that we cannot see the red solid. And if I just whir this forward, that's working perfectly well, just there. And in the end product, I would then repeat that over on this side, and indeed also have other things moving through these gaps. But because we only have an hour left, what I'm going to do is do those when we do the final build of the project. I think that's the best way to approach it.
Very
good. A couple of tech things going on. Okay, so that's how we're going to do that with that track map. I've got a few more of those things to do. Now, are you going to do some work on the king now, on that particular part? Or?
I'm just getting that ready. You can continue for the moment.
Yep.
I'm just getting the everything set up.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, one of the other things we're going to need, in fact, associated with the king, so I can use that layer and replace it with your content later on.
Oh yeah, that one should be the posterized one should be there for you.
Oh, the posterized one's there as well. Oh, I could do that now.
Yeah, there you go.
We could go ahead and do that. Let's
should be ready.
Let's go ahead and have a look. So if we go in here, let's get that. There we are. So this is the part we're after. I've just got to locate where everything is. In here, let's just check that. I think I've got a mask running on there. So it's finding everything now. That's the main thing. It's there. Let's turn that on and off. That seems to be another composition just there. So let's double click into that. There we go. Now we're in the right place. So we've got the animatic Tony in here, which we want to replace with that footage. So I'm going to go ahead and delete animatic Tony, and then I can bring that movie file in. So let's go ahead and import that, and let's see if we can find that. What did you call it, Sir Tim? Tony Posterized MOV?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yes, there we go. Great stuff. Nice. And then we can bring that in to the middle like so. So I'm going to wind that forward just a little bit to here, because this is going to help me work then with the position. Of course, it's not in the right place in the timeline, but I can then go ahead and move this and scale it as I need to. So we'll deal with the scale thing first. So I'm going to bring that up because it's posterized. It's not going to matter too much just there. And then we'll change the position. Of course, I could go ahead and drag it if I had the selection tool active. Change that. There we go. And let's see how that works with the walk on. Yeah, that's cool.
That's a bit, it's a bit small, but yeah. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go.
Ooh. That's so good.
And apparently Joe has some playing cards which are Adobe themed, Adobe CC playing cards, but they're nowhere near as good as a design as this one.
Oh, thanks, Joe. Have you seen the cards from Playing Arts? Have you seen those? So there's a thing called Playing Arts, and they get artists to contribute pieces of work.
Oh.
And form playing cards, which is kind of excellent, actually. So yeah, I have a few collections. I think I'm going to need to just just where this swings around, mind you, it does centre up nicely. It just goes right to the very edge of that iris and then back. But anyway, at this particular point, we can do some trimming. Just here. That's great that you managed to get. Did you put a hold frame on there, or did I hold that face for that long?
I didn't change anything. That was all you.
Wow. This was all done in here this morning, by the way. That part, much to the amusement of the guests we had in earlier. But, which was an old friend of mine. So this actually needs to go towards the end of this sequence here, so I can now just pull this along up to the end there, or about there, and we can see how that is in the main sequence, which, as we've discovered already, needs quite a bit of repair. So that will come out like so. Let's have a look. There we go. In. Oh, that's got to move. Because that's got to...
Oh, no, it's perfect.
Very good. Oh dear. Let's have a look. Right, so we need to get into this part here. So that's got to change. Oh, that's kind of handy actually, because there we are. That should work nicely. Just there. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, that's going to work. Okay, so we've got the barrel coming up straight in across there. That's funny. I'm going to play that in real time. Let's have a look. That's just like the storyboard. So good.
I think I should update my LinkedIn profile after this one.
Yeah. What, to not include me in it?
No, looking for a new job if anybody sees this.
Right, they love us. Fine, we can get away with it. We get away with everything else. That's Le Tigre. Wasn't that a villain? Le Tigre. Oh, I'm thinking of Le Chiffre.
Close enough.
Yeah. That's epic. And of course, there's nothing to stop me slowing down the brush stroke part there. We can do that as well. But that's kicking in just a bit early, so I am going to have to do quite a bit of repair on that. But that's for me to deal with. Okay, let's just have a look then at creating the king part here, because there's something slightly more complex going on here, and also people are going to see where those effects are coming from, where all of the things we did with the strokes and why we did the strokes in the way that they were done. Okay, so if I go to my picture cards, I've got one here called First King. I can open that one up, so let's go with that. There's some layers in here that I do not need, so I don't need these ring layers just here. The card has a role to play later on, but just like before, okay, you can see there are blank areas inside of this card as well, and it's going to get a bit more complicated from this point onwards. I can leave the card where it is at the moment, because that's the bit you're going to be working on shortly, right?
Yes. We just need to talk about how we want to animate it, because we have options.
Okay, well, I mean, I can pretty much show you in here if you like. If you want me to show you.
And you could possibly even send me that comp over so I can get started with that.
Yeah, I could do that.
I mean, unless, of course, this one is fine for you. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well then,
I think as long as it occurs a little bit further over to the right.
I think we can switch over in a moment. Or what do you want to do first? Do you want to animate that card, or should we jump over to my machine? I'm ready.
Let's jump over to yours, because then I can build on what you're doing, and I can bring the strokes into that particular point. That will actually make more sense.
All right.
It's very difficult to coordinate, isn't it?
You would think it's easier if you're sitting right next to one another. Somehow it's not.
No, I know.
It's very much not. All right. Okay, so let's jump on over to my machine. There we are. Okay, so I have a similar composition. And of course, feel free to work on whatever you want to while I'm doing my thing. It's a similar composition, not quite the same, but close enough so I can send it over to Tony and he can adapt his work to mine, or the other way around. And what we want to do is, I would like to add the card to that. So I have that ready. There it is. And now I can move that layer around, and I think the idea is to throw it away.
That is pretty much it. It's like this. Just like that.
Okay.
Because if you look at the Bond reference movie, the king's there with the hand like that. Well, actually, there's nothing there. Just this hand comes up and it's got a revolver in it. It's just very funny.
So we talked about it exploding at some point.
Yeah. So the card will travel away from the king. It would have helped if I'd bought you the boards for this, wouldn't it? The card will travel away. Mind you, I changed them so much anyway. The card will travel away from the king and it will explode and go.
So mid-flight exploding.
Mid-flight exploding.
Got it.
And the fragments will move off to the right because they then become the basis for the subsequent actions.
Off screen.
Off screen.
Yeah. Okay, got it. All right. I'm excited. Cool.
Let's be honest though. This is the way most of us work, right? We have it. Even though there's apart from if you are in the motion picture industry, that's not the way they work because it's too expensive. But for most of us, this is what you get. You get someone who goes, "No, I want it like this way," and you have to interpret it. It's very good.
Right. I'm just going to reduce the opacity of that for the moment, so we can focus on the hand and the card.
Yes.
Okay, and Sean has to leave the stream.
Oh, see you
Bye,
later,
Sean. Thanks for watching.
Steve said card thrown by Oddjob. Nice. That was a character in Goldfinger, 1964, I think. Steve would know because Steve's a movie buff.
All right. So I will first of all move the anchor point over to here to the base, and I'm going to do the same thing for the card as well, because now if we rotate them, they should behave. Yes, look at that. It's much better. So we can... Hi, Tony.
Just when you were moving when you were saying I'm moving the anchor point, that's exactly what I was doing over here, by the way.
We're working in tandem.
Yeah, we are working in tandem.
Right. Okay. So I think we shall start it with what here. So let's add a keyframe. Let's move it over a couple of frames. How about right here?
Yes.
Bring that to there. And of course, then also we need to start to move the position of the thing. So it should fly off, and it's fairly quick. So right around here, maybe. Perhaps even slight curve. Right. That's even too slow.
That's exactly the same problem I was having just then. Yes.
Okay. Right.
Nice. Goldfinger was 1950. No, it was 1964. I thought it was 1964.
Okay.
Because Dr. No was 1963.
Okay, that's good. And now I would like to make it go boom.
Yeah.
That's the technical term for that.
Yeah.
So,
Boom it up.
boom it, yeah.
Yep.
Make it pop.
Do you like the back of that card, by the way?
It's very nice. Wasn't expecting a square card, but
Think bigger, but keep it simple.
thanks.
You can get square cards.
I wasn't just expecting it. That's
Oh,
all.
okay, cool.
Okay, so to explode this layer, I will create a new instance by dragging it in and scaling it up right about like this. And it doesn't matter that it's slightly pixelated, that's fine. I could of course get the vector version, scale that one up and bring it in, but since it's going to be an exploding particle with motion blur, nobody will ever see that.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
And that is an appropriate time to use motion blur as well.
And also we're at half resolution, I think.
Yeah.
If I said that before, it's going to be... Yeah, there we are. Look at that. That's much better. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to pre-compose that real quick and move all the attributes into the composition, because right now we have the layer bounds set to the card, and we don't want that. We need the full width and height, like this. And that's why I pre-composed it. Because now, as you can see, I've already selected it. I can take the particle system, Apply it here. Now the card is gone. Like, huh? Well,
Where'd it go?
where'd it go? It's amazing. The thing is, I need to go to Particle in here. If you remember the Particle Crash Course, which I did many moons ago, we talked about textured particles. And I said, like, yeah, I'm going to talk about that at some point, maybe later. We never did. And now's the time to talk about that, because just so happens that there are some textured options here. And if you're asking yourself, where is it taking the texture from? It's taking the texture from the current layer it's applied to.
Oh, wow.
So, look at that.
Huh.
And of course, we can, as you can see, it's sort of like cropped in a bit, so we can, first of all, change the size. They shouldn't really shrink or grow, so let's just keep it at 0.5 perhaps. 0.5.
Tim, that looks epic.
And we don't want them to fade out, so we keep them at max and constant, so they are always visible because they should just fall down. Right, and let's see what else do we need to change. We need to change, of course, when they are appearing, because we don't want a constant stream of particles like this. That's not our goal. So instead, I will do one thing. I go right about right here.
This is a so much more exciting way than the way I was planning on doing it. This is really good.
I will keyframe the birth rate.
Yep.
Set that one to 0. Move one frame forward, and I can actually show that to you. If we zoom all the way. Oops, sorry.
There's a discussion going on about beer mats in there, in coasters. The cardboard ones are called beer mats, Sora, and other ones are called coasters.
Right. Move one frame forward, set the birth rate to something larger, and then back to 0. So we're essentially generating particles for one frame, and then they are just falling down like this. Let's play that back. Oof. Okay. Now we just need to change the direction and the scaling, because we don't want just the CC logo. I think that's really what we want. I wonder if we could just scale that one down. If that would fix it.
Okay. And Linda's saying that
For
people
some reason,
used to collect
no.
beer mats. People still do, Linda. I've got a book on beer mats of the world.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Oh, you should have. I'll send you one for Christmas.
I don't want one. I'll send it right back. Don't send me books. I already got one. Right, radius, bring that all the way down. And up like this. And there we are. Okay. I'm trying to roughly match the size and width of the card. About like there.
That's really cool.
Okay, right. Now, we don't want an explosion. We want to move in a certain direction, so we should change the physics, perhaps, from explosive to direction. There we are, and right now it's moving in the opposite one. We don't want that. It's going, well, I think it's going up, maybe. Well, anyway, we can see where it's going if we increase the velocity. And then we should see where it's going, and it's going up, indeed. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move it all the way to the right by going 90 degrees to the right. So direction 90, and that should then, yeah.
Oh.
Okay. And we can play around with the extra to make it a bit more focused.
Yep.
Or if we wanted to make it broader, we could do it like that. I think right about here, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, that's good.
So let's play that back. Oof. Okay,
Wow.
looking good so far. And of course, we need to get rid of this one
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. So I think the explosion should start right about here, maybe. So we just move that forward. There we go. Scale it up. And I think we could even get away by just fading that one out.
Yeah.
I think that should be fine.
Yeah. Or would a direct cut even work at that speed? Because it's quite...
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
So where is it? I think it's this one, position. Yeah, so T for opacity or transparency.
Yeah.
Go one frame.
Going to do a hold frame there.
Yeah. But that way I can move it one more if I want like a
Yeah.
frame in between. I think that works, yeah.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Nice. Right, and if we wanted to, we could apply perhaps some motion blur to those cards. And it's just as easy as clicking on this icon here and making sure that one is enabled.
Yeah.
And perhaps we could even, but I'm not sure if that's according to the style of the rest of the animation, because we don't really have any motion blur anywhere. But we could. So now the card is also moving with a motion blur, and we could even do it to the hand if we wanted to. And motion blur often hides some smaller mistakes you make. And now we have this. There we are.
That works brilliantly.
And we can bring this one back. And there we have our finished effect.
Cool.
And we could play with, of course, the velocity. We can make it slower, faster, more focused, more broad. We could add even more particles like the front. We could add a second one where we show the front of the card. But yeah, I think for now that's
cool.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
So would you like me to send that over?
You can send that over. The hand, by the way, is down a little wee way from its pos, but we can fix that later on.
Well, that's...
No, that's not a biggie.
Yeah,
I can work. What I'll do is I'll work on this one with the strokes, and then we'll blend those two things together. When we
I guess I could just send you the hand and the other one, and you could just move it.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, as a pre-comp.
Yeah. That would be really good. Yeah, fantastic.
Cool. I will hide the other layers, and you get exactly this.
Yes.
And then you can put it anywhere you want.
That is perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, love it.
All right.
Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome, Tony. Back to you.
Right, I'm going to do some stuff with the strokes that I mentioned to you earlier on. So we spent almost all of Monday working on different strokes and finished those off yesterday just to refresh your view of that. These are the final strokes that I put together just here. These ones are very, very long. In fact, they are around about 4,000 pixels long, so pretty much 4K size here. And there's the Adobe Live one, and then we've got my two versions of the pen tool in there, so you know I added it. Then the diamonds, zigzags, loop-de-loop, just there, and some variations on those things. So, how do they play their role, and why are they straight like that? I mean, I needed to test, by drawing them with their bends in, I needed to test that in Illustrator so they were behaving the way I expected them to do. And they did. They passed my test. So now we're going to use them in After Effects to complete some of this playing card just here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go actually to the layer in between. So again, this is another one with the back on it just here. I also think it's wise, knowing me as I do, for me to lock the other layers that I'm not going to be working with just here. And this is another job for a solid, funnily enough, in just a moment. But first of all, I'll bring in one of those patterned strokes. I've called them stripes.
And the particles should be there.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
The Greek god of entertainment, Particles.
Particles, yep. The Greek god of After Effects. So obviously you can't see the thumbnail too much just here, but I have, of course, named them. Let's have a look. I'm going to use one of the ones from down at the bottom here. Of course, I could always just hit the tilde key, but that doesn't really do anything with the preview. So I'm just going to go ahead and just choose one with a bit of red in it. So this one will do just fine. Let's bring this in and drop it down. Well, actually, I can drop it anywhere. Just here, it's fine. You can see it's super big. I know.
You're crazy, Tony.
Crazy. People say I'm crazy.
You're mad.
It's because I am mad. Right, I can actually drop that up there because, believe it or not, I don't actually need it. Well, I do. I need it to be there, but I don't need to see it.
It's like me when I host a stream.
It's true. Tim's always there. This is a thing actually where you can't speak in my ear like you normally do.
Well, I can.
But you can, but everybody else will hear you. Because the amount of times you say you haven't turned that off or whatever, because it's difficult. You know, you talk to people, you get excited about showing stuff sometimes, and and then you have a morning like we've had so far today, where a couple of things have not gone to plan, and that's how it works. So, but normally Tim whispers in my ear. He says, by the way, you haven't done whatever, and then I recover it. So
it's like the old TV show, What's My Line? Let's have a quick conference.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to bring that in between. So there is my solid layer. Now I'm going to leave that selected.
Yes.
This is going to look crazy to start off with. It's just going to look absolutely bonkers. Right, but there is a method to this. I'm going to be using an extension for what I'm going to do next. I'm just going to zoom out slightly just for the moment. So I have that targeted. I need to create a mask path along here. And the great news is this is something that I can edit even when the effect that I have, is applied. In fact, I can turn off that layer just there. I've just turned its visibility off because, like I said, I don't need to be able to see it. It just needs to be present. So I'm just going to add a path here. At this point here, I'm going to drag out some curves like so. I'm going to take that off. I've got no particular plan for where these ones are going to go, because when the final thing is done and when we put that on my Vimeo and on our Discord, that's when you'll see all of the different strokes in there. It takes the time to do, so we're not going to make everybody watch all of that. Okay, so I have my mask path on there. I'm then going to use the plugin that I'm going to use here, and it's called Boa, as in the snake. Okay, so if I choose Boa, that then becomes applied like so, and I can then come along here and choose some parameters for the source, for the mask. You can see how I can mask, or the mask that I'm going to use. So I've just gone mask 1 just there. You can see that it's creating me a very big chunky path at the moment. I'm not too worried about that. I can then go to the source just here, and for the source I'm going to choose the diamond pattern like so. Hey ho, suddenly we've got this pattern following that path.
Nice.
Now, it's not working exactly the way I want it just there, but this is the great thing, is that I can actually go and change this mask path. It now stays completely live. I'm just going to zoom out just a little bit there. You can tell that I normally use another controller for my zoomage. Yeah.
And you can achieve a very similar effect using the vanilla methods of After Effects, like the Puppet Warp tool.
Yep, you can.
But for this one, it's just easier to do it that way.
It is easier to do it this way. And I have a few more options that I might choose to use for this one. So if I can just go ahead here and just pan down a little bit. So I'm going to get this last vertex here and bring this in a shade like so, because I can do things such as scale this at the end, so I can change the scaling there. So if I wanted to follow along with, actually I need to do that in a slightly different place. So you can see there's a lot of controls just here. So I've got scale at mask end just there, and I can bring that in. So if I wanted to go for the forked tongue look that I had with from the original movie reference, I could do that using that sort of command.
Gotcha, yeah. I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, we could do a pre-comp, and then the pre-comp, we could do this, and we could pinch it, and then we could warp it. Like, that's easier.
But this does make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's a good plugin. So I'm just going to undo that scaling just there. So something else, you can see lots of these properties, and there are. Not that I feel like I'm doing an ad for this product now. In fact, investigate it yourself. You'll find it on AE Scripts. If you do this kind of stuff, AE Scripts you'll be familiar with. It's a very, very common site used by people who work in motion graphics and beyond. Okay, so you can find Boa on there. Okay, and have a look at the various different things, because it'll even do things in 3D, and you can add Z axes. Right, so that's the distance between the background and the camera. you can add that to individual points. So you can actually get things so they loop over properly. So it actually change
yes.
So you can add depth into it, all without adding loads of extra stuff.
Sean, if you're watching the replay, you should have just gotten that plugin. That would have made
was he trying to do a handwritten thing?
Yeah. He had like some knots, and he was having some issues. Why? Because you can't really put the path under another one and then over the next one.
Because they combine at that point. Well, this one actually allows you to take a vertex and put it behind or in front of another one, and so they will truly pass underneath one another.
There you go.
So what I'll actually want to do here is I will want the path to grow into place from the shoulder here. There's going to be another path going across here. There will actually be a few paths inside of these parts of the sleeve. So they're going to form almost tentacle-like things. The king will come into the main composition from the side, and these tentacles will be growing at that point, and then the king will move away from there when the card explodes into the next scene. So let me just zoom in here so it's easier for you to see. Okay, so we've got things that you could use trim paths inside of After Effects to trim a stroke, but you can also do that here. So you've got reveal at mask start, reveal at mask end in there. We've also got those options here, reveal start, reveal end. Right, and you can see how that is at the moment 100% because it's completed its journey. But given that we're going to have to do quite a bit of tuning with this anyway, so the king would actually be moving on. So there's the card throw in around about that position there. That's just my temporary placeholder for that. It's like, hi everyone,
hi,
how are you doing? So the king will move in around about this point here. And of course, by using loads of nested compositions, I mean, it's really easy to change. Go to a point in the timeline, dive across into this comp, make an adjustment, easy peasy. Like using smart objects in Photoshop works pretty well. So at this point here, you can see I've got all the properties down. It does make the only thing is it does make the layer very, very deep if you view it like that. Of course, you could just tap U and get rid of a load of that stuff. So deep. Right, I'm going to choose reveal end here. I'm going to keyframe that, and then I'm just going to wind this back like so. Okay, so initially, and I'm going to actually keep that keyframe there. Let me just tap U on here so you can just see reveal end on there. It makes it a bit less complex for everyone to look at. Now, I guess I could use a hold keyframe there and then start everything moving on, but I'm just going to do it nice and simple and old school by just dropping another keyframe in with that state at this particular point. Well, it's dead straightforward. Yeah. You know, it's nice and easy to do. And while it's not as elegant as the methods that you often employ, you know, it kind of gets there. Right, so you can see now that I can go ahead and wind that on like so. The only thing is the hand has got to move up a layer from where it is. I've actually got it in the wrong place in the stacking order, but you know. So you can see now if we do that, so you just have to imagine the king moving in, and then like this, you will suddenly see this line staying there. So the king would be moving in from the side at this particular point, and it would be pretty much on screen by now, and then this would start to grow outwards. And it won't be just that one, it will be several of those strokes growing in different directions. Then as that happens, the card gets thrown like that. Okay, then there's an explosion of the card, so it fragments into everything else, and then it cuts across to the next scene, which, if we just have a look, I'm going to bring the card. You've got another thing to do shortly, haven't you? Or is it's just me now, isn't it? So we've got the music to bring in.
Music, yeah.
Yeah, we can bring that in. Dun-dun-dun. Tim's done great music again.
Yeah.
But you can see, that's very, very fast. That plugin is fast. I like it a lot. So Let's just have a quick look. I don't need to make any more of those unless you particularly want me to. Let us know in the chat if you want me to do another one. Who wants vanilla yogurt?
No, Sarah is eating
I see.
butter toast with the yogurt.
Now taking lunch orders on Adobe Live.
All right. I think I'll have a croissant. Do you have one?
Croissant. I think we do actually.
Hang on. Oh, there it is.
Croissant. Wow, look at that.
I'm not going to eat it, don't worry. Not on stream.
Not on stream. Let me just reappraise you of some of the parts inside this sequence. So we have these kind of low poly rotoscoped animations as part of the original titles here. So there were various different things, but all of them were around fighting in some way or another, which of course is not something we want in our Adobe Live titles. So I have created a bunch of characters. I couldn't rotoscope them because we couldn't grab all of the footage we needed, unfortunately. I've got a few things here that could be closed up actually, just to save a little bit more room. Because if I just go to my recent files here, and I should have this file, creators, and you can see them all stacked up here at the moment. Okay, so what I've done is I've created some very, very low information characters here with animatable components. So there's an arm at the back here of this first one, which we can make that work. So it'll be drawing, of course, creativity coming out from that one. And then we have someone else at a laptop. And I'm just trying to show you how simple animation can be sometimes, how you can make something effective with that. And then we have also someone else here with an iPad. And then we have a photographer just here as well, and you can see the parts there that actually make up that. And you can also see what I've had to add, so you know that it's actually a camera and not just a couple of bricks that she's holding up just there. They were all drawn in the same spirit as the movie. They weren't rotoscope masks as they were in Casino Royale, but these were just very, very straight scissor cuts almost. So almost all of the cuts there are straight. There's not a curve in any of them. They're either just very, very close frequency straight lines, by that I mean they're short, or they're just straight chunky lines like so. So let's animate some of those, because we'll need a composition for each one of those. So go back into After Effects, and I'll go back to the project panel just here. And I don't think I created a folder just yet for the creators, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's collapse some of these things up because they get quite busy. We'll drop in a new folder like so, and then with that selected, I'm going to import my creators file to it with the layers. It will give me a composition in there as well. It's because I have everything on modified. There we go. And there we are, Creators AI. Let's bring that in as a composition, retaining the laser size.
I'm just sitting in front of the open button.
There you are. And there you go. Yeah, just a little bit more. And now I can click it. So this is so fun that we're not in little boxes in the corner. So good. Okay, so I've got my little creators comp just here. Now I will actually, I bought them in a composition like that, but in truth, I would actually need 4 of those. In fact, they were meant to be 7. Yeah, that's why they're numbered that way. So each one is numbered 001, 002, 003. See where I was going with that. But there's 4 in there just now. Here are all the individual layers. Well, there's no point in wasting this one, so I'm just going to rename this one. Okay, 001. Creator, like so, and then we can go ahead and work on this one. And of course, we've got a whole bunch of layers here that we don't actually need, so we can get rid of those. So we've just got the stuff here we do want. And the animation here is going to be very, very straightforward. The idea being that as this person moves into the frame, they will meet with icons that are travelling around over the top of the background. So the mnemonic icons will be travelling around there.
Right.
And they will be busy creating. And then some of the same paths that you've seen with the king, they will be emanating from whatever they're using. Yeah. Apart from the camera, where they'll be going towards the camera. That's the only one where it's different. But everything else, the tablet and the machine is for video. Okay, the tablet is for drawing and Photoshop and all that stuff.
Neat.
Or the tablets.
All right.
That's the idea. So let's show you how easy that is. Very, very simple, straightforward motion that we can do. It's based on position, nice and easy to work with. If I animate the correct layer, that would be even better. That's always a plus, I think. So
And you could even go further with this and use like the puppet warp to move the head.
Could do, yeah.
I recently discovered that you can actually modify the pins in real time.
Yep.
While it's playing. So cool.
Yep. No, it is cool. We ought to do a thing on that, actually. We ought to do a thing on the various forms of puppet warp. 'Cause puppet warp exists. How many places does it exist in?
3.
3?
Photoshop, Illustrator, and After Effects.
You're only missing one. You're only missing one. Do you know which one it is?
Well, it's not Fresco.
Does the chat know what it is?
InDesign.
No.
Animate.
Aha!
Of course. Wasn't that the place where it came from?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Right. What do you have to say about that?
I like it.
Great, thanks.
So this is all this needs to be. All it needs to be is a small amount of motion just here between a few different points. And you need to have an idea of the scale of time above. These need to be fairly slow. Right, but just by doing this, now I know that actually using Puppet Warp would have been a good idea for that, because the body, actually if you pull back like that, it does have an effect on the body, so you could actually twist the body over even just slightly for that. But for here, this will work just fine. Yeah, so this person will carry on creating stuff as they are. I don't know why it's taking...
I mean, you have a lot of comps open in the background.
I do have a lot of comps open in the background.
And if I take a look at your toolbar, it's also not particularly empty. You have 2 search icons. For whatever reason. I mean, those ones.
These ones?
Yeah. When one spotlight search isn't good enough, I'll have another one.
I've got another one. I want to search within the search. Actually, I don't know.
And you still haven't found what you're looking for.
No, and I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Right, so let's just run this again. So there you go. It's meant to stay still at that point and then start moving. So it's gradual movement. That is too gradual, though.
Is that like a 20-minute comp?
It looks like it might be.
Well, that will explain it.
It will explain it.
It's moving very slowly.
What's gone wrong with all the timings were set in...
I think you have missed like 2 zeros. Or too many.
I might have dropped in too many zeros.
Well, then explain, the render time.
Yeah.
Oh.
It explains it just there. Let me just stop it because I've got it.
Essentially, it's 60 times slower than it should be.
Yeah, essentially. But anyway, fortunately, with the skills that we have, we can just go ahead and just change that small segment. That is crazy. But anyway.
Well, I do think you need to...
Yeah, what I'm going to do...
Yeah,
what I'm going to do is... That is nuts. How has that happened?
It would be great, though, a 20-minute intro to a film.
And it would have been... it wouldn't be the slowest.
No?
No. So let's...
Trivia with Tony.
Trivia with Tony. How did that happen?
Well, you had 2 extra zeros at the beginning when you made the comp.
Do you know, I think...
Or maybe just 1 because you wanted 2 minutes instead of 20.
Yeah.
That would explain it.
My keyboard's now having none of trimming that as well.
So then it's just 10 times lower than 60 times.
But
Still.
that should still be trimming to that particular point. Anyway, that's for me to fix later on. The funny thing is that I said just a little while ago, if you've got a sense of time when you're doing it, that is still way, way, way long. Yeah, 2 minutes 30 seconds. Needs to be like way, 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 way shorter than that. So let's go ahead and do that. Apologies, everyone. We are having quite a day.
That's all right. We have about 20 minutes left of the stream, plus 10 minutes
buffer. As generally, though, I wonder how people have enjoyed the longer streams this week that we've done. Is this something they would like more of? This is what I want to know.
And Linda says, great to see how to take the steps to make something so complex. Looks pretty easy, really. And says, yes, more please.
There we
Well,
go.
surprise. Next week we will have 5 hour, 6 hour and 7 hour streams. Tony, and Tony.
I'll be in the new studio next week, pulling stuff in. Next week? Oh no, I'm on Wednesday, aren't I? So yeah, I think. Where am I? I don't know.
I can check.
Yeah. For some reason, my keyboard shortcuts are not being registered at all, so it's time for me to do a quick save because something has gone very, very wrong there, and I don't know what it is. Pre-rendering aside, that should all be working now properly. Anyway, you can see the movement is just there. Okay, it should be that simple, really, to do that. So we've got more repair to do than I thought earlier on. There we go. And the same thing, okay, with the other compositions. So I can just go ahead and create a new composition. We'll check the time. See, it's not even allowing me to create a new comp.
Yeah.
Have you got anything you can jump over to for a second?
I think there's something. I think there's something strange. That don't look good.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Who are you gonna call?
Tim.
All right. Okay. Let's talk music for a moment.
Yes.
And also, before I talk music, why don't we have a look quickly at the schedule for next week? Let me just pull that up for you. Current week, yes. Tim's calendar. There we are. It's not working. Oh, great.
There's something strange going on.
Very strange. Must be the internet.
Yeah. Okay.
No. All right. Okay. Fine. Then we'll do it the other way. And gonna solve that. There we are. Okay. Yes, I have it.
Good.
So, on Monday, we will have our very own Maddie, and it's going to be all about paper cut helmets and how to do that.
On Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That'll be the stuff that Maddie was meant to send me across.
Okay.
That's fine. We can do that. Oh, that's Monday. That's days away. Yeah, it's fine. By then, Illustrator should have allowed me to.
Emma, come back here. Tony's not behaving. Well, on Tuesday, though, we should be joined by Joe Adam and Joe Parsons.
Ooh, that's Funny Joe, isn't it? Joe, our Joe, and Funny Joe. Isn't this Joe's comedy friend?
Well, I hope our Joe isn't in the chat. I think he heard that. It is Funny Joe.
It is Funny Joe.
Okay. Not implying that our Joe isn't funny, though.
Yep, he's a comedian as well.
Great. Okay, and we also have the sports-themed illustration stream, Female Skateboarding, with Rachel Katzeller. And that should be on Wednesday, I think. Yes.
Yes.
And of course, we shouldn't forget the Adobe Express stream on Friday next week with our very own Liz.
Yes.
It'll be fun. Right. Okay. Now, let's talk about the music. Because, as always, we have, or rather I have, listened to the original theme, which we were creating, and I've reimagined it into a version that hopefully sounds... Well, I don't want to say it sounds like it, because it doesn't.
Yes, let's not invite any more interest
really
from
doesn't.
YouTube.
I'm going to pretend it doesn't sound like it because I wanted it not to sound like it, not just because I couldn't make it sound like it. Anyway, and I think it should be, is it in the folder somewhere? Yes, there it is. All right. And I think for that, I will actually mute that, and I'm just going to unplug that so you can...
Yeah, go ahead.
There we are. And take that. Oh, the joy. Here we go. Just going to pop on over to my machine for a moment, even though we don't really have to do that. And just making sure we have the right audio selected. External headphones, that sounds good. All right, so in theory, if I take my headphones, we should now be able to, let's see. Hang on. Okay, cool. Just making sure it's not blowing out your eardrums. I play this.
That composition was 20 minutes long.
Okay.
Which is the problem at the other end. I did put 1 too many zeros in, so that was picnic time.
Okay. We'll listen to the track real quick.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Because you were talking over it, like I didn't want to...
I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that we can hear you talk.
Yes.
And that the music would be overpowering. Because I have no idea how loud it actually is. Oh, it's fine. Okay. Just gonna make that a bit louder here. And let's try that again. Let's see.
Great.
And there we go. Right.
It's great.
Take it off again. So, yes, indeed, there is some flugelhorn in there. Actually, yes. And also, of course, if you listen back to the original, you will see it's hopefully, like I said, similar, but not the same. So we can actually use it on stream. Not get any issues from certain movie franchises.
Yep.
Which wouldn't be too happy about it if we were to do that. Anyway, I have sent that file over to Tony, and he can then, when we are ready, of course, put that into the After Effects comp. And if you could do me one favor and just full screen that After Effects, so it's...
Yes.
That would be very nice.
Of course, yeah, so we're not seeing all of the...
There we are.
There we go.
And...
I've still got 2 search icons, don't know why, but there we are.
I was actually... before the stream started, we were sitting here and playing a bit of the intro because we weren't quite finished. So that was fun. But since this was like, I mean, this took me 7 hours, maybe. So I don't think you want to sit here and...
For the whole 7 hours?
Yeah. And fun fact, there's actually me playing guitar, like real guitar, even though I don't play. So that was...
Learning new skills.
Yeah, that was fun.
Learning new skills. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out everything else there that had gone wrong, which I think is now sorted. Let's just bring that pattern on and into the right place just here. It is in the wrong stacking order, however. So we need the spiral movie up at the top. We need to just turn that off and on. That's the intro, that's why. So let's get the spiral movie up to about the point where this fades out, which is there, just drops out rather at that particular point. The ones that run round and round and round, put a pound in the meter.
Okay, I think we're back.
Yep.
Hello, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, can you hear us? If you can, let us know in the chat, please. Just waiting just to make sure we're back.
It is today's got...
Yes! Okay.
There we go.
I think there was just a slight hiccup in the connection. That's fine, it happens. We're back.
Unfortunately, in the whole restart thing, restarting After Effects, I'd actually lost all of the work I'd done on that comp, and there's a few things not synchronized. So, not a huge deal, but also not exactly what we want. But anyway, I'm going to move this composition off the side, so you'll get an idea of how this rolls out anyway. So let me just do that, and I'll bring the music in then, like so. So I'm going to tap P for position, then like so, keyframe the position, and then I'm just going to hit the playhead because it gives me a better idea of the actual times of this coming in, like so, and then we'll move this across on the X axis. So from here, this is where the strokes would start to be coming out and moving, or sorry, at this point here, once the king has stopped, that's where the strokes would start to grow at that particular point, just there, and then the card would be thrown. Okay, and then it would be a cut across, so we just have to imagine that the card is thrown around about that point there.
Well, you have my composition for the card throw.
That's true. Is it in here, though?
You should be in the folder. I've definitely saved that one.
Let's go ahead, and I'll bring that into the picture cards folder.
And what have we learned today? Command S.
Here we have.
There we are.
In the AEP, or did you pre-render it?
Particularly start AEP.
There we go. Nice.
Since it wasn't that big of a comp, I didn't think I should render.
Yeah. So that's...
Might be comp 1 at the bottom.
This one here.
No, comp 1. No, one further.
Oh, comp 1. Actual comp 1.
Actual comp, I think so.
Actual comp 1 is the hand. So that's... actually, that's really groovy. Right, so...
No, it's the hand with the...
With the card. Yeah.
So,
yeah, but what I mean is it's not the entire king.
No.
So that's kind of good. What I'll do is I'll jump into this one here, okay, and I'll delete the hand.
And the card.
And the card.
And you should just be able to drag and drop that in.
Yeah, we should be able to go from that particular point there. So let's drag... oh no, of course I need to drag it into that position, don't I?
You don't have to, but I think it would be the better option, since then you get also the position.
Yeah, it would be the best thing to do. There we go. So that's behind, just there. Let's go ahead and...
Of course, there we are.
Yeah, I'm just seeing where things occur inside of that composition. But that's fine.
Okay.
Let's bring that up into place just around about there. Because remember, this has got to be moving on at this particular time. And then starting to throw, I think it's around about there.
No, at the very beginning, I think.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. There it is.
So that might be an issue because then you don't have too much of...
I mean, the main thing is that at the moment is that people have seen how we've achieved it. We can fix all of those things afterwards. So that's all good. If I go back to the main titles, the king will... so as the king comes on, he will not have a hand. Yeah. But then you can see how that works from there.
Can you play that? I want to add a sound effect.
You want to add a sound effect?
Yeah.
I know what you're going to do now. Can I put these on?
It's not that loud.
Here we go.
See?
Oh dear, so good.
5 minutes.
So good. So good. Oh, 5 minutes, right, okay. Right, anyway, at that particular point there, we were cut across to one of the other compositions. From there, so the paths will be moving on from that particular point. If I go to the creators thing here, because I had to remake one of these very, very quickly here that wasn't 20 minutes long. So we'll go to that particular point there. The king would also have gone by this point, by the way. So king would have gone, and this person would be in here, and then the icons would be flying past, and then the strokes would start to come out from there. The hands should go up and down, and there you go. And then we carry on throughout. Shall I put the music in so we hear the beginning of it?
Yes, please.
With all the stuff going in. Let's do that. So that was called
Have You Been Gambling?
Have You Been Gambling? Just another thing to remind me of Mads trashing me at BeerCon. Oh no, it's not. That was the intro.
Try clicking on the right one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we are.
Right. What I also want to see here, Tim, is I want to see the audio waveform. So I'm just. Do you know is there a quick way, to show the audio waveform without clicking through everything?
Not that I know.
Not you know of.
I don't think so.
So I need to get to the point where. Oh, do you know what your timing on that is spot on?
I know.
Wow.
I don't.
Okay. Let's have
hang
a
on.
listen. Great stuff. Thank you. And here we go.
1 second.
Oh, apologies.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
There we go. Groovy.
Fantastic.
So, got a bit of fixing to do to get it out
definitely.
there, but that's working pretty well.
And we're almost at time.
We are
Wow.
just about 2 minutes away. Do you know, considering the way things started out this morning, I think we've done remarkably well to pull that back together.
Aye.
Oh,
But it was very fun, though.
it was.
And I hope at home you also enjoyed that one.
Yep.
When the InDesign icon is upside down, it should look like looks like the preload icon.
It does.
Oh yeah.
It does.
Right, and of course we will work on this a bit more.
Yep.
Fix all the things and upload that to Discord and your
Also to my Vimeo.
Vimeo.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But for today, that's all the time we have. Thank you very much for joining us over the 3 days. If you have just watched the stream today, then do make sure to come on over to the other days and watch those as well. But for now, thank you and see you, well, either in the US streams later today
Yeah.
or next week.
Yes.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.